This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917.
Welcome to Palm Beach County, Florida, a place that I call home along with countless species of birds. On this week's episode, we're going in search of one of the most enigmatic and beautiful raptors on the planet, the swallow-tailed kite. Let's go birding. That was awesome. I got it. Looks like we can get out into the ocean. I'm about to get in the cage with Australian saltwater crocodiles. And I'm going to fly like the birds. Oh!
I will never forget this moment.
Let's go birding.
Palm Beach County is one of the largest and most eco-diverse counties in all of Florida, and the Palm Beaches are a paradise of never-ending outdoor activities and things to do and see. An unmatched landscape of first-rate birding, incredible wildlife management areas, year-round fishing, a multitude of water sports, and exceptional beaches make this the best place to experience Florida. From the Everglades to the Atlantic Ocean, you are sure to find things to do that will stoke your passions and make lasting memories. Here in the Palm Beaches, birding and wildlife viewing is a big deal, even bigger than you might imagine. In fact, birding is second only to beach-related activities as a form of outdoor recreation for both visitors and residents. If you're already into birding, you probably know that Florida and Palm Beach County is considered one of the best places in the world for this activity. South Florida is a birding mecca, from the colorful and distinctive natural populations of wading birds to the specialties like Florida scrub jays and red cockaded woodpeckers, combined with the winter migration of flocks from up north. Palm Beach County is truly a birdwatcher's paradise.
I'm standing at one of the most productive birding areas in all of Palm Beach County. This is STA 1 East. It's right opposite Lion Country Safari, next to Southern Boulevard. And this place is so diverse. I mean, I'm looking right now at a massive alligator surrounded by a roseate spoonbill, surrounded by egrets, and a whole lot of birds just in one field of view. It's an amazing place to go birding and excellent for waterfowl and shorebirds at any time of the year. Right on the edge of western Palm Beach County is arguably the very best waterfowl and shorebird site in Palm Beach County. These are the STAs, or stormwater treatment areas, and there are a number of them spread out across western Palm Beach County. And these STAs are managed by the South Florida Water Management District. And they're basically treatment ponds that treat the water that flows off the agricultural fields before it gets circled back into the Everglades. So they're very, very important from an ecological standpoint, and also very important as a migrant stopover for migratory waterfowl and also a whole bunch of shorebirds. Palm Beach County is not only known for its resident birds that are here year-round, and also for the migrants that come in during spring and fall migration.
but it's also known for its rarities. And we're on the western edge of Palm Beach County in the agricultural areas, and we have seen not just one, but two scissor-tailed flycatchers this afternoon. You can see the scissor-tailed flycatcher with its nice scissor-shaped tail. There it goes, it's just flown out. It's hawking insects. It'll fly off from its perch high up on these telephone wires, flies up, sallies forth, grabs some insects, and then flies straight back. And you can see these agricultural fields are a really great breeding ground for a whole host of insects. Perfect food for scissor-tailed flycatchers. This is a bird which is seen probably every year, every other year in Florida, but is nonetheless a really nice rarity. Scissor-tailed flycatcher. What a great bird to see right here in Palm Beach County.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917. And by Palm Beach County, Florida. Discover the Palm Beaches. And by Engel Coolers, the original high-performance cooler company. And sponsored in part by Manfrotto, complete solutions for photographers and videographers. Visit manfrotto.us.
Hey everybody, I'm Benji Stute with Palm Beach County's Department of Environmental Resources Management. And this morning we're out on one of Palm Beach County's amazing natural areas, 31,000 acres in Palm Beach County. These lands are hugely special, and today we're here to focus on the swallowtail kite.
Palm Beach County is chock full of natural areas, and every spring countless swallow-tailed kites return from their wintering grounds in Central and South America to take advantage of this bountiful beauty. There are 4 species of kite that can be found in the United States, and all 4 of them can be found here in Palm Beach County. The Mississippi kite, the white-tailed kite, the swallow-tailed kite, and of course, the aquatic snail kite. Well, the swallow-tailed kites are back in huge numbers this year in Palm Beach County, and they have this amazing routine every single day. In the mornings, they wake up right at sunrise and they start stretching those wings, and they do this almost like this vampire display where they dry out those wings from the dew of the night before. And then they stretch and get ready, and they flap their wings, getting ready to fly and go on their aerial missions in quest of insects. And then you'll see them take off in the morning. They'll wait for those thermals as the ground heats up around 9:30 in the morning. Then they'll take off, get into those thermals, maybe take a quick drink of water from a canal or a water source, and then they'll ride those thermals all the way up to their hunting grounds, where they'll spend the rest of the day looking for insects. And come evening time or late afternoon, they'll fly back to the roost site, maybe on the way grabbing a quick insect or a last meal before nighttime. And they'll roost in these numbers right at the top of cypress trees where they're safe from predators. Wow, they're such handsome kites. Beautiful, subtle coloration, really handsome markings, and just beautiful with that lovely forked tail. Swallow-tailed kites are amongst the most acrobatic of birds. That stunning tail just fans out when they're flying, and they're able to do these amazing circles and swoops and dives, very acrobatic, and using that tail as a rudder and a stabilization. Absolutely amazing acrobatic aerial predators. One of the interesting aspects of the swallow-tailed kite's life history is that unlike other raptors, they don't prey on rodents or reptiles or other birds, but more specifically, they prey on insects. And they'll fly and gather those insects on the wing, often transferring them to their talons, and then they'll eat them right on the wing. We're very fortunate to meet up with Ken Meyer from the Avian Research and Conservation Institute, and he's been studying swallow-tailed kites for years.
Swallowtail kites are an awesome bird, easy to recognize, so they're very popular and they're beautiful. I started studying them in 1988 because they had not been studied, and the understanding was, and I think this was quite accurate, that in the early 1900s their population took a large dive. At the least, their range contracted from about 21 states as a breeding bird as far north as Minnesota. So no one really knew how big a population they were, but it was assumed to be down around 5,000, which is very small for a wild bird, especially a migratory bird. So I got fascinated with them because there was a need for study and they're so interesting. And they're social. That's a fascinating aspect of their behavior, and it's also very important in terms of long-term management and conservation. People always knew that they migrated out of the U.S. The assumption was they probably went to northern South America. They may have gone over Mexico. They may have gone across the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean. They could have gone east around the Caribbean islands and come into Trinidad, Tobago, and then northeastern Brazil. It turns out that most of those things were completely wrong.
It's phenomenal that twice a year, these birds embark on an epic journey, flying all the way from Florida all the way to the Yucatan, where they'll take a little bit of a break, and then southwards into South America. And Ken's going to share with us some interesting information about some satellite tagged individuals.
In 1996, we had the benefit of having available the smallest satellite transmitters that had ever been made. And it was a very new technology at that point. But in 1996, microwave telemetry developed a small enough one to go on swallowtail kites. So we designed safe harnesses based on 20 years of experience prior to that, and discovered within the first few weeks of tagging the birds in Big Cypress National Preserve that they go to southern and central Brazil, 5,000 miles at least. And they take their time. They go across the water to start with. They fly over to the Yucatan Peninsula. They may touch down on western Cuba. They get to the Yucatan Peninsula and they rest. It's a long trip from the Yucatan to where they're going for the winter, but they're over land from then on, and it's much safer. And they do that back and forth every year.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917. And by Palm Beach County, Florida. Discover the Palm Beaches. And by Pelagic Polarized Sunglasses.
So Palm Beach County's natural areas, over 31,000 acres in the county. They're not just about birding, although the birding is incredible here. But there are so many other ways that you can experience the natural areas and so many other things to do. You can paddle in emergent wetlands like the one behind me here. You can go fishing, bring your fishing rod, wet a line as you're paddling, but we also have fishing piers from land at places like Pine Glades, Cypress Creek, here at Winding Waters Natural Area. So great places to wet a line, get some of those big largemouth bass. If you're an equestrian, ride your horse. There are equestrian trails on several of our natural areas. Come check out Palm Beach County's natural areas. You won't be disappointed. Palm Beach County's 31,000 acres of natural areas are not only home to the swallow-tailed kite, but also to their predators. And their main predator is the great horned owl. The great horned owls being here tells us that this is a really productive ecosystem. There's plenty of prey items. One of the reasons that they're the kite's major predator is because they're such a generalist and they're so adaptable. A lot of times when they will predate kites, they do it at night when the kites are sitting on the nest. And they can do that because they have incredible eyesight and incredible hearing. So these birds, they have feathers on their face that make a facial disc, and those tufts, those horns, those feathers all funnel sound to these birds' ears, And what that does is it allows them to hear sounds as small as even a mouse squeak from about 900 feet away. That's 3 football fields away. They can hunt pretty much just by using that sense, their hearing. But they also have incredible eyesight. And so what they do is they have the ability to turn their head 270 degrees around in either direction. So they can almost turn their head all the way around. And that allows them to look around, but having those fixed eyeballs in their skull really, really enhances their ability to see, especially in low light. Another great thing about these predators is their feathers. Their feathers are adapted to be as quiet as possible in flight. And when they fly, they're almost completely silent. They range from the tundra all the way down to South America. They have another amazing adaptation, their talons and their talon strength. And that's what enables these birds to take prey that is even heavier than they are. So these birds can take prey like skunks. They can take prey like Canada geese. They will even attack other raptors, of course the swallowtail kite, but will even take raptors as big as red-tailed hawks. So just incredible, incredible birds. And Palm Beach County's natural area is one of the areas where you can see them.
You know, I've really got to hand it to the folks from the Environmental Resource Management of Palm Beach County, and I'm a little biased because I live here, but they've really created these wonderful natural areas for all of us in Palm Beach County and the rest of North America to come down and enjoy.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, the world leader in optics since 1917. And by Palm Beach County, Florida. Discover the Palm Beaches. And by Engel Coolers, the original high-performance cooler company.
Swallowtail kites soar. That's their main way of traveling by air. They don't beat their wings. And if you ask anybody who's watched them for even a few minutes, they get up early in the morning, as soon as there's some rising air providing lift, they stay up all day. And you may watch a kite for hours and hours and never see it beat its wings. They'll change the shape, just like a gliding machine would, take advantage of that lift. It's mesmerizing behavior and also amazing when you think about it in an aeronautical sense. Most people don't realize they actually have about a 4-foot wingspan. They're a very large bird, but they're so adept and so agile when they're flying, so graceful. You would think that they're a much smaller bird. As they leave Florida, they gather in these large night roosts to find food together, to put on fat, to prepare for this long trip south. And that's an amazing spectacle in itself. They do this in very remote areas. They're very wary, easily affected by disturbance. So they tend to roost in wet areas that are not accessible to many people. And they nest in areas that have a lot of dense vegetation. They roost in areas that also have a lot of dense vegetation. The area right where I'm standing is excellent swallowtail kite habitat. It has these older pine trees that emerge above an understory and mid-story that's very busy, very grown up. Their major predator is great horned owls, because great horned owls really take a toll on nesting kites. They'll come to a nest one night and kill the female. They'll come back the next night and take one of the surviving babies. Or when the babies are large and about to leave the nest, about to fledge, the great horned owls may take one young kite one night, come back 2 or 3 nights later, take the next one. The interplay of all these factors, the threats, the benefits of certain habitats, the shape of the landscape that works best for them, all those things play into whether or not kites are successful enough to persist into the future.
Historically, the numbers of swallow-tailed kites have never been really high in the southeastern United States. And it's for this reason that Ken, every single year, does aerial surveys over the natural areas, looking at the roosts from the air. And he takes aerial photographs because those swallow-tailed kites really stand out in the cypress groves where they roost.
We've had the good fortune to use these pre-migration roosts as a survey focal point. In any given year now, we fly over 12 to 14 or 15 of these large roosts that form in the same places every year. We put 2 or 3 airplanes up on the same mornings at exactly the same time. About an hour and 20 minutes after sunrise is what we have. And we take photographs of the kites roosting in clusters. And because they have these white heads that are so distinctive, especially in that low morning sunlight, they just light up. We count those birds very accurately. I've been doing that since 1989. And since 2006, we've been using the same set of 12 to 14 or so of these large roosts. So we have this uncommon, unbelievably great opportunity to track the trends of the U.S. population just by doing this in Florida. Because most swallowtail kites nest in Florida, and most of the U.S. population passes through Florida as they start their southbound migration. What we know from these monitoring data, only in the last few years when it's all come together, is that right now swallowtail kites seem to be very slowly but steadily increasing.
You know, I've traveled all over the world looking for birds, and whenever I go down to Central or South America during the winter time, I see swallow-tailed kites and my heart just soars. But it's incredible that I can come back here to my home county in Palm Beach and see these birds in excellent numbers. Our golden bird for this episode, the swallow-tailed kite.